All right, so after that hiccup, it's all good. I'm the pretty face. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, just that I got melted today using Rampage, so that's probably the highlight of today. Um, Other than that, man, Paragon right now is in a good state. I think the changes have
Yeah.
had an effect, and I think overall is doing pretty good, pretty good. Other than that, I'm doing good. I'm happy.
Good.
I had a
Good.
stream earlier today. Yeah.
Hey, I think we both did actually, but mine's always usually in the morning to midday. Yours is more afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know what? This is our first podcast, and a lot of these people aren't going to really know who we are. I mean, of course, we've got a lot of our followers that are in here. Go figure.
Yeah,
But
totally.
some of these people probably aren't going to know who we are. So let's give some little introductions about yourself. Why don't you go ahead and go first, Skiz?
All right, guys. So my name is Schizorican. Uh, I just graduated college, officially an engineer, and honestly, Paragon is definitely the game I am obsessed with right now, with the exception of Destiny over here.
Oh
uh,
God, Destiny.
yeah, but I mean, you know, I've been putting all my time into Paragon recently. I'm pretty excited about it. That's why we're doing what we're doing. We both love the game, and you know, so, in case you guys are wondering, the Schizorican, the name, the Rican part, I'm pretty sure a good amount already know. It's because I'm half Puerto Rican, so I think yeah,
Hey,
that's the
fair enough.
explanation for my name.
So when do you
Yeah.
normally go live, Skiz? When is it that you normally go live, and what do you normally like to do in your stream?
Well, usually when I go live, I don't have a set schedule. Like I said, I just graduated now from college, so it was pretty hectic. Now I'm just in between jobs right now. I'll be moving to Virginia soon, so after I'm already set up and starting my job, I will have more of a set schedule. But typically, I tend to go live around like 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Eastern time, kind of around the time that you go out. So
Hey, fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah.
Oh, is there anything else you want to tell these lovely people?
Thank you for showing up. Yeah.
All right, guys. So a lot of people know I can pretty much talk for days. So we're gonna go ahead and keep this introduction short on who I am. I am VenusFallen. I've been using that name for quite a while. Actually, first documented back in 2007. Simply, what the name generally means is it's basically a play on society, and that's that with such things as high divorce rates and yada yada yada. Venus, the goddess of love, and then fallen. Typically, people don't value things that you're supposed to take to heart. That's simply what the name means. It's a reflection of society that I came up with a long time ago. But who I am an insurance salesman. Yes, I'm the person that you hate. You'll probably get a call from me sometime. Health and life.
Fair enough.
I got you covered. But father. So my son is 8 years old. I got living here with me, him, and my girlfriend, and yeah, we were just having a good time all day around. But the wonderful part about being an insurance salesman is that I can make my own goddamn hours because I work for myself, which is why I stream at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. I go over the 2 p.m. a little bit, but who cares, right? I don't think anybody's going to really complain. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much me. I've been playing games since damn, I can't even remember. Can't remember. I'm 29 years old and I had an Atari 2600. If that kind of puts in perspective how long I've been
Yeah.
playing games. Multiplayer I've been playing since let's see here, 99. I did Quake 3 Team Arena online on a dial-up connection at my mom's house. It was great. And then in 2000 I moved into the MMO market with UO or Ultima Online. Uh, Paragon is really it's my first MOBA. It's my first true MOBA. I played League of Legends like 4 years ago for a month, but I've had it's I've had Paragon since early access came out, and I'm loving it, and I've learned a lot, and I'm a
Yeah.
researcher, so hopefully I'm well enough informed to help you guys out.
So then you would say that you came from like the shooter genre into Paragon,
Well, I came from the
or
shooter
more of
and I came from the shooter MMO genre. Now, shooter I've always played just to have fun, but I've always been competitive MMORPGs. And being
okay.
in competitive MMORPGs, one of the things you learn to do very, very quickly or you fall behind is number crunching and learning the mechanics and learning
Yeah.
how this number goes with that number. And I that's what I've brought to Paragon, and I think that I've been able to not only um, figure out a lot of different things, but also, help a lot of other people out who've come into my channel and asked questions about this, that, or the other.
All right.
So what about you? Is this your
That's
first
yeah.
MOBA, Skiz?
Actually, I used to play a good amount of Dota, but that was the Dota 2 was my very first MOBA, so I decided to play it and go into ranked as soon as I could without not knowing much. I ended up getting into what people usually refer to as MMR hell, and once I
Oh,
got there, I was stuck there. Like so, I didn't take it to a competitive level or anything. My very first passion when it came to gaming or thing that I really got hooked on was old school RTS. I was really into Command and Conquer back when I was like in middle
oh,
school.
dude,
So that was
yes.
my thing. And
Well,
then
I have to ask.
very
I have to
yeah.
ask. I have to ask. Favorite Command and Conquer. Now, keep in mind our friendship rides on this answer, so better be the right one.
All right. So most people don't agree with me, but I my favorite one has been General's 0 Hour.
Oh, podcast over.
Yeah.
We're done, everybody. Good night. No,
I mean, I understand that the Tiberium Wars, I think, and what's
oh,
the other one?
Tiberian
There was
Sun.
Tiberium
Tiberium
Sun. Yeah,
Sun
like
was my favorite, and then of course the Red Alert series.
yeah,
Very
Red
close
Alert
second.
was awesome. I started with Red Alert, but I don't know what it was about the General's aspect of it that I just loved. I think it was because
Uh,
it was more realistic.
well, and
Well,
here's the thing, and this is a big point of debate for me, and why the Command and Conquer series lost me at Generals. So right before they produced Generals, first of all, EA produced Generals, right? But you know who
yeah,
had Command and Conquer before EA?
no,
Westwood Studios. Westwood Studios owned. They
okay,
made every Command and Conquer up until Generals, and then EA bought them out and made Generals. Generals was EA's answer to Blizzard's Warcraft. That's why the whole system was changed, where you have units that build instead of a structure where you purchase the unit or you purchase the
yeah,
building and then place it down. That's why, because
yeah,
they basically wanted to turn Command and Conquer into the competitor for um,
StarCraft,
Warcraft,
Warcraft,
Starcraft,
yeah, 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 yeah,
and it was a model that worked and it's a model they wanted to use. But
yeah.
they accidentally, as EA always does, tanked the entire series.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that sucks. But so just to go quickly about that, that was I guess my first like competitive thing. Then after that, I moved to shooters. Halo 3, I was like obsessed with. Then I stopped playing for quite a bit of time actually. I would say like 3 or 4 years. I stopped playing video games like just because I was busy with other things, I guess. And then I got back into shooters, that Call of Duty, like everyone, and then Destiny, and now I'm at Paragon, and I guess I'm more of like a shooter guy with some experience when it comes to like more strategic style play. So I really enjoy what Paragon has brought to the mobile genre.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with that. Is Paragon's brought a game that appeals to so many different classes of player. It appeals to the MMORPGers. It appeals to the shooters. It appeals to the diehard MOBAs. It even appeals to RTSers because of the amount of strategy you need to use, and there is a little bit of micromanagement in it.
Yeah, totally.
So I think Epic has done a very good job at producing a game that not only appeals to a large class of people, but is well done. And people have been saying for a while that this game, the Paragon, is the superior to Smite, and that is something I'd have to agree with.
Oh,
I mean,
I
just
agree completely.
so you
I
know what?
have
Let's
to agree with that.
so now you guys know who we are, or at least a little bit of about us. Let's start moving into it. And what we saw this week is we saw a new weekly card pack. So tell us about this card pack, Skiz.
All right, so this is actually probably my favorite thing when it comes to Paragon. Honestly, I love the card aspect, and I know that a lot of people don't enjoy the RNG aspect of opening card packs, and that is where the weekly pack comes in. Those of us that are lucky enough to be in the early access currently, and those of you that will start getting in during the beta, my suggestion is always go for the weekly pack because I mean, every time they've had at least one thing that is very useful. For this week, we saw the Overflowing Gifts, which provides +3 mana regen, and then it has an active that gives you +14 health regen for your allies. And it's a
Real
pretty quick
quick,
card.
I don't mean to cut you off there, but it's
Yeah.
0.3 mana regen and 1.4 health regen, not
Oh, it's
14.
1.4. Okay. Oops. My
No
bad.
problem, no problem. I just didn't want to make sure we're not giving out false information over here.
No, you're right. That was I guess I wrote it wrong. Anyways, see this card I'm not the biggest fan of, and it's actually a growth card. So it goes with my main, which is Rampage. But I can see a use for it, but I think there's better options when building a deck. Like if you were gonna go tank, I think this is a card that it could work in the middle of a team fight, maybe early on in the game where a extra 1.4 health regen to your allies would help, but you won't be
Yes.
in
Well,
that situation early on. At
let me
least as
let
I
me
see it.
let me recorrect myself because I'm the idiot here. It is 14 mana regen because it's the one that gives 14 mana regen to allies. And as far as its uses in a deck, I can see it useful in both Rampage and I can see it useful in Muriel's deck. And what I mean by this is a get early card and discard it later, because you're essentially
Exactly.
giving your allies a health pot,
Yeah.
and until you hit mid game, that health pot is incredibly strong.
All right.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I had
No,
to
you're good.
recorrect myself because I'm the dumb one here.
All right, it's all good, dude. So the next card, Bubble Tap. Now this, I can't say how useful it would be. I think this is up your alley. So energy armor plus lifesteal, and it has a active, if I'm not mistaken, that gives you 100. It consumes 100 mana, and then it'll give you 75%. That's 75%. A shield that equals 75% of your current mana. So that seems as something that um, could be useful, possibly with. The only thing I could think of, honestly, was uh, Gideon. So right before you do your ult, you would have a shield to help yourself. But I know you would like to run Shockwave.
Right. So, Bubble Tap is kind of my wheelhouse. And when I say that, I mean intellect based characters because I main a
Yeah,
lot of intellect based characters. And here's how I see Bubble Tap working. It's going to work on several levels on different characters. The two big ones I see it working on is going to be Steel and Gideon. Steel, clearly, he's a tank. Why not just burn 100 mana for a 75% current mana shield, right?
fair enough.
That could definitely work, especially since at end game he has about 350 mana. So you burn 100, and
Mm-hmm.
then you get whatever it is, 75% of that. I don't feel like doing math in my head right now. The other one is, and another good one is Gideon. And when I say Gideon, I don't mean going into his ult. I think that bubble tap would be fantastic for when your ult is ended, and now you have to get the hell out because your teleport's on cooldown.
All right, that seems fair.
But the problem with Bubble Tap is it's such an expensive card, and to make clear use of it without running out of mana, you either need to be running a lot of mana regen, or you need to be stacking a little bit of mana in your deck. But honestly,
Fair enough.
overall, it's a fantastic card. And if you want a card, an intellect card that's very defensive heavy, Bubble Tap is your card.
All right. So third card, Necrovale. This is same as Bubble Tap. Is also a 6-point card. This is where at first I was like, oh, this is kind of garbage. But then I really thought about it. I was like, wait. That says Shadow Plane for 3 seconds after you get a kill. That's crazy. That's a great card in my opinion. So this card gives you energy damage, energy penetration, and then you go into the Shadow Plane for 3 seconds after you get a kill. Now this screams Grim to me. If you can, whenever you use your ult, you get a kill, then you're in the Shadow Plane for 3 seconds and you can try to get out. That seems like a solid choice for me.
Right, right. And I haven't tested it personally because I didn't
Yeah.
pick up the card pack this week. Mostly because
Yeah, you
I
still
was
have time.
I will be definitely it will be. It's definitely for Necrovale. It looks very very cool, and it's something that I think can find a lot of use. And did you say that that's a corruption card, or is that just
Yeah.
a universal?
No, it's corruption.
It is corruption. Okay, so Kalari,
Yeah.
Grim,
It, it's
Grux.
energy damage. It's energy
True.
damage.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh well then. Oh well. Although even
Yeah.
though, so what does the actual unique do on that one again? It just sends you into
So
the
if you get whenever you get a kill for 3 seconds, you go into the shadow plane. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially you become invisible for 3 seconds after you get a kill.
right. That's the shadow plane. But I could honestly, I could see that on a Kalari build. I could see that on a heavy damage Kalari build. You basically burn a card to have an extra stealth after you ult somebody. That gives you the chance to approach in stealth instead of having to save your stealth for the disengage.
I would have to agree with that. That wouldn't be well. Here's the thing. Like you would be throwing away 6 points to have that, and I think
So,
I'm not a Kalari player, but it's something worth thinking about. It could be useful to pick up for Kalari.
yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna test it tomorrow. I'm gonna build the worst Kalari deck possible, and I'm gonna test this Necrovale on Kalari. It waste 6 points to get an extra stealth. I'll try it. But yes, for Grim, that could be absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Because when I saw it, I was like, Grim really doesn't have an escape. Yes, he can put a shield up, and that shield actually blocks Rampage's rock, which is very useful, really useful. But then
Yes.
on top of that, you absorb an energy damage, and you get mana back. But that's it. Like it's really not an escape. So he's in that ballpark with Sparrow in the sense that they don't have an escape, and this card could potentially give him an escape when he goes in for a kill, giving him
Right,
energy
right.
damage and energy penetration. So I
Well,
think it's a
well, could
solid
you?
pick for him.
I think it could be really good too. Could you imagine a team fight and you're going for the Grim? All of a sudden, he gets a kill. God damn it! Why? Why? Hold on, I gotta turn my. Apparently, my Twitch alerts didn't turn itself off, so that figures. But yes, could you imagine in a team fight if Grim got a kill and you're looking for that Grim and you're gunning for that Grim and all of a sudden he just disappears and he's gone? How awesome would that be for you as a Grim?
I mean, it'd be great. And I mean, ADCs in general have the issue where, you're squishy to a certain degree. If you get targeted, like your tank better be there to back you up. But with Necrovale, you become more, you can solo a little bit better if you're going in for a kill. And Grim can shoot through walls. Grim can shoot through minions. So I think it's a solid pick for him. So yeah,
You know what?
that's why I
Overall,
would pick that up.
I think you'd have to agree. I would have to agree with that. Necrovale is basically Epic saying, you know what, Grim, you need something. Here's something. Just
Yeah,
wait now. Now wait until they add something for Sparrow. Oh, I don't want to see that.
yeah, that would be. The thing is, Sparrow would be. She's growth, and then what's her? Is she Fury or just pure growth?
She is growth and order.
Oh, order. Wow. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yes. Damn. She could be getting something because it wouldn't surprise me that they would pick an order card to have an effect along those lines to help Muriel, for example, even though she gets shields. But
It's
anyways,
true. It would have to be something that's basically tailored to where you want Sparrow to have it, but you wouldn't want Muriel to have it.
okay.
But yeah, so yeah, but Necrovale over, pretty pretty cool. I think
Yeah.
I really really like it. And just you wait, just you wait until they add a new caster that's int and corruption. You better believe I will have Necrovale in that caster.
All right. Actually, wait. Gideon is corruption.
Is he?
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, that's right. He is corrupt. How could I forget what my mains is? Because I use zero corruption cards on him.
Yeah.
Because they're all so
I didn't think
garbage
about
for
that.
him. Oh man, that
Yeah,
is.
because I mean, lifesteal doesn't work with him, but having Necrovale. Okay, there we go. Grim and Gideon. If you guys wanna main or make a deck for Grim or Gideon, you're starting off. Pick up the weekly card pack and get yourself that Necrovale because I honestly
Wow.
think it could help on any team
You know
fight.
what?
Honestly.
I'm curious. I'm curious. Do you disappear if you're in your alt? How cool would that be if you go up alt, get a kill, and then just you disappear for a second? I think that would be cool as
That
hell.
would be cool, but I mean, people would still know. I mean, what
Well,
if you get a
clearly
kill
they're
in the
gonna know
middle
where
of
you
it?
are. You're
Yeah,
immobile and you have a black hole
yeah,
open on your feet. Clearly they're gonna know who you
yeah.
are, but it'd still be funny as hell.
It could throw off that one Murdoch trying to ult you while you're up in the air. Like maybe in that scenario,
Here's where it would be useful.
it
I
could
think
help.
here's what I think it'd be really useful. At least for me, the way I play Gideon. The way I play
Yeah.
Gideon, I go up, I teleport in, I hit Tainted Magic, I Shockwave, and I ult. And usually by the time they're getting to the edge, they're almost dead. And then I end my ult and I hit them with a Q and I kill them with the Q and then I disappear with Necrovale.
I'm
That would
gonna
be very
say
cool.
that, yeah, that would be pretty cool. So yeah, Gideon and Grim pick up Necrovale, test it out. The way I see it, I still think that it would be more useful on Grim just because he doesn't have an escape, where Gideon can just teleport out. Um, but I mean, or like it could definitely help out Gideon. I mean, you could turn Gideon into a sort of assassin where you see someone low in health, teleport in, kill him, and then you're invisible, get the fuck out. It could work.
Assassin Gideon. Assassin
Assassin
Gideon.
Gideon.
I'm down. I'm
That's gonna
down. We're doing it
be
tomorrow. We're
all
trying
right.
Necrovale out with Kalari and we're trying it on Gideon tomorrow. That's happening.
All right. So
Good.
I guess that pretty much covers the weekly card pack.
I would say so. I would say in greater
Yeah.
depth than was probably needed. So
Definitely, definitely.
let's talk about the big thing. Let's talk about the big issue this week. The
All right.
2.26 patch. And what a goddamn patch it was. This thing was huge. It was packed
Yeah.
with all sorts of goodies, from crit changes to a tank pass, the new player ranking system, which is pretty awesome, harvester changes, even some ridiculous bot changes. So let's start off with what everybody probably wants to hear about, and everybody's been complaining and or loving, but the crit changes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm loving it. On my end, I am loving it, so I can't complain about that. But we're looking at basically your basic 1 point crit is going to be reduced by 1 point. Instead of being a 4% crit chance, it is now 3% crit chance. So let's say a 2 point wound card is going to be 6% instead of before where it was an 8%. Now that may not seem like a big deal, but if you top that off with the crit bonus being now 150%, so times 1.5 your physical damage or energy damage, that's a pretty substantial uh, nerf
Nerf?
to
Yeah,
to
and
what
and that's
yeah Yeah.
A lot of what Epic redoes, they label as rebalancing, and they do that for a reason because it is truly
Yeah.
rebalancing. They rebalanced Murdoch, they rebalanced Muriel, they rebalanced Rampage. This this was a nerf. This was 100% a nerf, and I think it was greatly needed. But what it basically did is it
Yeah.
nerfed burst damage output, auto attack burst damage
Yep.
output 25% across the board. 100%,
Yeah.
25% across the board. So, and what I'd
Yeah.
like to do, and we'll do it a little bit later, but I kind of really want to talk about what this is going to mean for certain heroes. Because certain heroes, what we've noticed over the past 2 days, certain heroes can still build crit and be effective, but others can't. Now
Yeah.
it's build crit on certain heroes, more specifically the melee fighters. But we'll get into that a little bit
Yes.
later. But I want to talk about your favorite subject, Rampage.
Tanks. Tanks. Let's go with tanks in general. So I'm gonna start off with Steel. Steel, I think I don't main him, so I can't say that I'm 100% sure with it. But the way I see it, I think they shouldn't have done what they did to him, in my opinion. I think that his role was supposed to be a tank on top of a support. Like he was a tank that can also work as support, and that I feel like
Yeah,
his role was pretty good there.
yeah, I'm sorry. You got some basketball in the
Yeah.
background because your
Yeah.
roommates are savages.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I was well. Cleveland's playing. They're like LeBron fans or whatever. But
Oh,
anyways,
jeez.
yeah. Hopefully they'll tone themselves down.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
So um, where was I? All right. So Steel. Here's the thing. I understand that his shield was a little annoying, but I don't think it was that big of a deal to where they have to remove the overshield that it would give whenever you would pass through it. I feel like that should have stayed there. Just tone it down a bit. Just tone it down a bit. And then I like that they removed the range of it. I agree with that. But that's where I stand on that. Now, moving on to actually, what are your thoughts on Steel? Like, I kind of
Yeah, I
want
was
to hear
gonna
that.
say, oh yeah, I got stuff to say. So, my thoughts on Steel. Now, removing, and I think that this really ties in to the Rampage. And I'm not gonna get into it too much because I want you to highlight Rampage because that is your main. You know him, you love him. But what they've basically done, and the way I see what they've done with Steel, is first of all they removed half of the range on the shield throw, and I think they did that because it was a Steel to run up on somebody, throw your shield behind them so they couldn't get away, and that was it. They were dead,
Yeah.
right? So I think that
Yeah.
the range nerf was very very good. Then they took the shield mechanic away. Now you actually look at the ability for what it is. You have a basic ability, non-alt, where you can throw it on the ground at a decent amount of distance. It blocks all projectiles coming through. Any enemies that pass through it slow, and any allies that pass through it gain a shield. That's pretty darn powerful. But I think what they were thinking, and what I thought of as soon as I saw the change was, well, Rampage can no longer tower dive at level 5. Now neither can Steel. But Steel could tower dive at level 5 if he threw his shield up and just kept passing in between it real quick to keep gaining a
Yeah.
shield. He'd only take a little bit of damage. So if they remove the ability for Rampage to tower dive at level 5, they have to do it for. I think that that's what their thinking behind it was, and I think it's overall a good change, if not a frustrating
Yeah.
one. And I do mean frustrating.
Actually, yeah. Now that you point that out, I guess you are right. That makes more sense now. But I still hate the fact that his role has become strictly as a tank. And yes, he has a stun in the same regard as Rampage, but Rampage feels more like a tank that can also be a bruiser.
Right.
I don't think that Steel has that damage output, and now because of that, he no longer has a big support role like he used to. Now I'm not saying he doesn't because clearly he can slow people down, he can stun
Right.
them, and then he can block projectiles. So it's still
Well, I mean,
useful.
he's,
It's
he's
just
got an
not
AoE
as
stun.
useful.
AoE stun,
Yeah,
you can put Shockwave on him, you can put Honor the Pure on him. If you want him to go more support, run Honor the Pure. But beyond that, you're absolutely
yeah,
right. Steel has one role and one role only, and that is tank. And that is all he
yeah,
does, but he does it very well. Tank and Initiator.
yeah,
Whereas Rampage and
yeah.
Sevarog can both build damage and attack speed and actually be bruisers. I
Yes.
mean, Steel really can't. You're right there. Absolutely.
Now the other change they made was I don't have the stats like
I
written
got it.
down,
Right here,
but
baby.
his actual yeah. Then go ahead and say it because
You're talking about right click,
where it
correct?
comes. Yeah, yep,
Okay,
right
so
click.
the right click, they what they did is they changed his personal, almost what most people would consider the body block maneuver for steel, where he whips that shield up and gains damage reduction. Just to kind of
Yeah,
let you guys know what these numbers mean. At level 3 of the ability, it gives you 55 energy armor and physical armor. Now, what doesn't seem like a lot, and truly, it doesn't seem like a lot because you can get that out of one piece of armor easy. Just to kind of put that into
yeah,
perspective for you, up until 108 armor, every 60 step of armor essentially is giving you 10% reduction. So by pulling up that shield, he's essentially giving himself about 9.5 damage reduction. So if you think about it in that sense, he's giving himself anywhere between 7 and 9.5, depending on diminishing returns, of course. It does suffer it if too high armor. But if you're giving you an extra 7 to 9.5% damage reduction, you blow yourself, but you can body block for your ACs. I think that it was an overall good change. I think it needs to be still looked at. I still think it's a little weak,
yeah.
but I think it is now a usable ability. As
Exactly.
previously, you would never use it at all.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, whenever I played Steel, I would never like that was a like one upgrade path I would just leave for when like just have to do it.
Yeah, oh
I
yeah,
would just
everybody.
not focus on it at all. Yeah, like every character has a skill that you don't care too much about, but in Steel's case, it was useless. Like I would never even use. I'd rather just like get shot at while I stare in the opposite direction, waiting for my what is it Q? Yeah. So
Yeah.
square for those of you on with a controller.
PS4.
PS4. Well, hey, I'm on PC and I use a controller.
No, you know what though? Nothing
That's
wrong with it. A lot of people do.
that's that's my crutch. But anyways, like I like that change. I like that change. I just the one thing I was a little confused about now that you point out the whole tower diving thing. I guess it makes more sense. I just wish he had more of a support role than he does with this change, but you do bring some good
On the
points
pure.
around where you can honor the pure, and which I have on my deck. Now that's the thing. Not that's the thing. Like I run steel as a tank with supporting capabilities. That's why I was like, oh, this kind of sucks.
No, it's
But
true though,
it is what it is.
and for a lot of people, it does suck. It's true because that shield is the most, and minus his ult. If we're talking about pure abilities, that shield,
Yeah.
that's just that one ability is stronger than any other tank single ability in the game, and not including Rampage's Rock, who only stuns one person for 1 second. Oh, you can save an entire team with that shield. I think it's one of the most powerful tanking abilities in the entire game. Followed up by
No, it is.
Rampage's
It
Rock
is.
and Sevarog's AoE root. Honestly, very, very good. But let's talk about Rampage. I know everyone's thinking about Rampage and what has happened to him.
Okay, so Rampage went from being this towering psychotic maniac with as much as you can possibly imagine to I don't even know what to describe it. It's changed his role a lot. This is where I'm at with him. If you're building a tank, actually, let's go with the changes. All right. So his previous, I think it was called Outrage, his circle ability. Don't know what that is on a keyboard.
Are you
Basically,
the Howl?
the middle one, the middle one. Like,
How do we not know this name? How do
yeah.
you not know this name? What are you doing? You're disappointing rampages everywhere. No, I'm kidding. Are you talking
I
about?
guess they
Oh,
changed it.
you're.
They changed it to thick skin now. It's
Yes, that's
whatever it
right.
was
That's right.
before. Outrage. Was it Outrage?
It
No.
was roar. It was like howling roar or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, roar. Yeah, exactly. So they took that off. Now that I agree with. I agree with because I'm one of those people that was taking advantage of the fact that I could just roar, jump, like take this giant leap, get into a situation, rock someone, start hitting them, get someone, pick it out, and then jump all the way, ult, and then jump out. It's 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 not fair that I could do that twice because his ult would reset the pounce, which is your jump. So I like that change, and I like the fact that in a way it just it creates this passive ability where you gain health regen and you have to be very conscious about when you want to do it and how you want to do it. Like I can go and upgrade my rock throw, that way my stun hits harder, but if consistently in the game, I've been taking a lot of damage because I'm there in the fights a little bit more, then maybe I want to give myself more health regen. Or I want my jump to not do as much damage. And, it gives you this option where you really have to think about when you want to upgrade the thick skin ability so you get your health regen. I think that's a very very good ability to give him. Now, when it comes to his ult, the changes were drastic. I mean,
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
he his damage output. I am pretty sure. I am pretty sure that it stays the same as it used to. I can't. I don't. I don't want to be quoted on that, but
I'm bringing it up now.
regardless, yeah, bring that up now. But when it comes to his ult, the way it works is you grow in size, you will do more damage, but you no longer gain health. You will no longer take this huge amount of health, which was I can't even remember. I think it was like
It was what it
1500
was.
or
It was considered a health reset by Epic, where basically what they were doing is they were resetting your health to the full health bar that you were when you were small, and then you'd ult. So if you'd
yeah,
be missing damage, you'd still have damage on your ulted health bar, but it was considered by Epic a health reset.
basically, yeah. I mean, you would gain a lot of health from that thing, like a lot, and it gave Rampage this insane ability of just tower diving and just what, everyone shoot at me while the rest of my team just takes the tower down. Which, I mean, in a way, it's a good strategy for tanks, but it got to the point where I was taking advantage of it all the time. Like if I had an ADC with me, it would just be I'll tower dive and you can just melt the tower while I take the hits and just don't care. And not only that, but you can pretty much just do it all the time. Currently, Rampage can't do that. Now what happens is you get this insane amount of health regen. I think it's plus 190 per second whenever you max it out, so at level 15.
Right, right, right.
That's ridiculous, but it doesn't compare. I mean, if you can't do, now you have to think about when you want to use your ult. It used to be that you could just ult because you're low in health, but now you can't do that because if you're low in health and you ult, it doesn't matter because if you have 5 health left, 190 plus per second, it doesn't matter. They're going to kill you in one hit, so you'll be dead. So you have to do it before an engagement or as soon as the engagement starts. And then your pounds, which would be your jump, you are basically either going to have to use it as an engagement tactic, which is what I've been doing. I've been hitting my ult away from everything. Then I'll engage and start hitting everyone while the rest of my team backs me up. But you can also do it to where you start the engagement normal, like let's say you throw a rock, you start hitting them, you ult, you keep hitting, and then whenever you're taking too much damage, you can just jump out while still in your ult. And your health regen is so ridiculous that if you're 3 seconds by yourself, you will basically get your entire health back, but you won't be as useful in the team fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so we're aware, I did pull up the stats. So what Rampage does is when he enrages, he grows in size, he gains health regen, and gains additional damage based on health missing. Now I don't see any
Oh,
statistic
okay.
for how much damage that is, but the lower his the lower his health goes, the more damage he gains.
Okay.
Just so we're we're clear on how the alt works. And you know
Yeah.
what? And you're right. I have a lot of success on Rampage now, building him as tank, running him as tank, going in, engaging, like you said, and when I hit about 50% health, pop the alt, gain 250 regen, heal myself, or if I have to jump out, you can jump out. The only thing is, and I have to agree with you, I think it's really difficult now that they replaced the roar with thick skin,
Yeah.
and I think it's difficult because, and what I don't think Epic realized is even though the football field jump, as everybody liked to call it, was a
Yeah.
great way for Rampage to double jump and dunk the orb and whatnot. I think they should have toned down the distance on it, but still kept that ability there for engagement purposes. Because as a tank, Steel can literally go from standing to all the way over there with his ult. Why
Yeah.
can't Rampage? I mean, Rampage should be able to do the same thing. Rampage should be able to
Exactly.
engage a fight with a jump. But neither here nor there. These are the changes that are made. I think Rampage is in a better spot in a tank sense now. He's just been removed his ability to be absolute monster early game.
Yeah. And what's funny is I've had very good luck building him as a bruiser early on, and if my team is very good, whenever I'm playing with a team that I have communication with, if I go with three people, right, I will go in as a bruiser and we can win. But if I am like today, my last game today on stream, maybe some of you were watching, I went in as a bruiser. The game went, I think it was like 15 minutes long. When we got to 60 cards, I was a joke. I couldn't take damage at all, and I wasn't putting enough damage out. So I essentially became useless, ridiculously useless. Whereas before, even if you had a bruiser style, physical damage and a little bit of crit chance build with Rampage, you would still be able to use your ult as your extra health, and you would still be able to tank. Now you can't.
Right.
Like it just doesn't work. So
Okay. So
if basically if you're solo, I totally agree with you. 100% go with a tank build. But if you have a really good team and you have a Muriel, you can still do a bruiser attack build with Rampage.
okay, let me present an idea here to you. What do you feel about how do you feel about building Rampage, say as a bruiser for your first 18, 24, even 30 card points up into mid game, and then selling all those cards and rebuilding him as a tank as the ADCs start coming online? Switch it up. Would you think, as a Rampage player, would you think that that'd be something is viable? Being that, first of all, you started out as a bruiser, everybody expects you to be a bruiser, so that's going to throw them off to begin with. And two, you're going to gain your tank stats as the ADCs are coming online and being able to 3, 4, 5, 6 shot you. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't think about it that way, but that could work. That might be a good way to go about it because early on, if no one's going to be doing that much damage to you, so your health regen, your base health regen, especially your thick skin, where you can uh, increase your thick skin passive, so you gain more health regen, and just by going farm the jungle, you'll gain your health back. So you can jump into a situation, attack, do your damage, try to gank people, then go back to jungle, farm a bit, gain your health back, and then you can go in. Now, when it starts to become an issue where you can't just gank people anymore because they're doing too much damage to you, and you switch to a tank build, that's actually very smart. That could work a lot. I didn't think about it that way. I might have to test it out, but it seems like a good idea.
All right, fantastic. Hey, we've killed
Yeah.
Rampage here. We've talked about him to death. We all kind of know how he
Yeah.
works. Everybody knows the value of armor. It means it in my opinion, it just means Rampage needs to stack more armor now while he's tanking instead of pure health like you could do. And I
Yeah.
think
I
as
would
far as tank stats are
actually,
going,
yeah. And what I would say, I've been seeing a lot of people go with health regen. I don't actually recommend that. even though like it may seem like a good idea because they give you a bunch of health regen now and you can capitalize on that fact, I wouldn't run more than like 2 or 3 upgrade cards doing health regen. I think you might be better off using armor or going for a little bit of physical damage than having a like 4 or 5 cards for health regen. I don't see the point in that.
I'm gonna have to completely agree with you. I see Rampage's alt as he becomes a giant wall, and the regen is there to keep him alive while he's a giant wall. I don't see it as what it was before, which was, oh shit, I'm dying, save me. It's not that
Yeah,
anymore. It's for him to continue to tank. So I think the
yeah,
armor is definitely going to be more beneficial than health regen. Even though I have seen some successful, 50 plus health regen builds out there, I still think,
yeah,
and I will maintain, armor is your best bet, everybody. Armor. But let's
yeah.
move on to
I
let's move on to
agree.
Sevarog. What changes did we see this week with Sevarog?
I can't help you there.
Okay,
Not,
okay.
not, not sure about
No problem.
that.
Okay, so I'll just go over it real quick. Basically, what they did for Sevarog is, as you remember, they only really changed his colossal blow. All right, and how the colossal blow used to work
Yep.
was you had an angle about that big, right there, about that big, and he would wind up and he'd swing his hammer, right. What they've done is they've increased this radius right here because it used to be a 90-degree radius. They've increased it to about a 160-degree radius. It's huge now. It's huge, and it's extended out a little bit further. Also, they increase the time it takes for him to swing his hammer when he's doing his ult. The reason why they did that, and initially I thought it was a nerf, but the reason why they did that was so you can line it up better. It gives you an extra little bit of time to line it up. Although it does open him up to getting stunned out of his own ult a little bit more. But
Yeah,
beyond that,
I
they
think that
didn't
was
really
it.
do much. Yeah, that's all they
Yeah,
did to Sephiroth. And they removed the
yeah.
extra what is this here? I'm reading it. Remove the extra damage you gain from your stacks on the ult. Now the ult just naturally does more damage. So there's less emphasis on
Okay.
needing to stack a whole bunch of soul siphon stacks before you ult just so you can get more damage. Now it just naturally does it. The stacks don't affect it. But I don't. Everog, oh, he's a tank I really really want to like. His kit is so good. His kit is so good
Yeah.
as a tank. But when they decided to make a mini game inside of a game where he has to get last hits when last hits don't matter, I think that's possibly the worst decision they could have made. Worst decision.
I agree. I agree. I tried playing Sevrog, man, and I gave up. I mean, to all of those who main Sevrog, I
You guys are the
props
heroes.
to you guys. Yeah, you guys are fucking heroes. Like honestly, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too much. It's not only are you, you know, if you're just gonna farm, if you're just gonna farm camps, I guess you can do that. But the very successful rampage, Sevrogs I've seen, they'll last hit everything, everywhere, and they get those 30 stacks or whatever in no time. If you can get those, like, I think, yeah, like if you can get to like 30 stacks in 10 minutes in, like that's
That's a good
insane.
place to be.
You will be in such a good spot with Sevrog, and then you can actually go out and lane and take care of business. But if it takes you too long, if you can't time those well, you're useless. You're useless until late game, and by that point, you probably the other team's so far ahead that you're done. And it happens to me multiple times whenever I get a Sevrog on my team. It's
Yeah,
a very tough
absolutely.
character to use or
And
hero.
and the problem is, and the biggest problem I see with Sephiroth and his little mini game within a game is that it forces the tank to stay away from the ADC. You're forcing the tank to be
Exactly.
by himself. That's useless.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
we actually see, and what you'll probably see in Agora's Rising coming up this weekend is exactly what competitive Sevarogs do, which is screw the stacks. I don't care about the stacks. I'll just build tank stats. That's it. And that's what they do in competitive play. They forego all the stacks because it's such a broken mechanic.
Yeah. It's not worth it. If they were to bring it down, if they want to keep that, if they want to emphasize that, I think they should bring it down. I think that would be a quick fix and something worth worthwhile. Like I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to bring down how many stacks it takes to make Sevarog good.
No,
At least that's the
I
way
think
I
I'm
see
gonna.
it.
They just need to rework his passive, so that when you build, there's a different way to build stacks, and then cap it like they did to Grux. Grux, whenever anything dies around him, he gains health, but it's only 200 health. Whereas Severall can keep building and building and building because his stacks don't stop. Now he's got the milestones at 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, but you can continue to build the health off the stacks. Cap it, make a mechanic like Grux. That's all you really got to do to balance Severog out and make him any sort of use. But
I would
now
have
that
to
we've
agree with that.
killed tank changes, let's move on here. Harvesters. Tell me about harvesters. They've done some really good stuff with harvesters.
Yeah. All right. So harvesters. Before you see a harvester full purple from the other team, you attack it. You only get 25% of that. Now you get 100% of what's in there. So it makes targeting harvesters so like it was already very important. A harvester will can win games. Taking the other team's harvesters can win games.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because denying the XP is the name of the game, especially for a jungler like Kalari or Fang or Grux.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'll agree with that. So now, not only is it was already important. You already had to take those harvesters down, but now you are taking down their harvester plus getting 100% of what's in there. So it's even more worthwhile. It's I think it's smart.
And over the past few days, both me and Skiz have been playing, and we played together a few times, so we've seen things that we've never seen before. Harvesters are huge focal points now. I mean, huge focal points. Harvesters go up and go down constantly. If you typically
Yeah.
run one of those two charge keys, I suggest keeping it because it's now relevant all the way to 60 card points.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And
I used to never run one of those. I used to always have a harvester key, and now I finally added one to one of my decks. I mean, it's very important to keep your harvesters up. Every time they take one down, I just get mad now.
absolutely, and it's frustrating, and there's a lot more, and I think that there's a lot more play to be had in harvesters now because it doesn't telegraph your position anymore. It doesn't show you on the mini map to the enemy. So you could have one person attacking a harvester and have all four of your other buddies there waiting for him as they think it's one person, and you can actually set up gang. You can set up ambushes like that. I think that's very cool, and I think it's going to add a real new level of play to Agora's Rising, and it's already added a brand new play for everybody who's been in queue. I think it's a fantastic
Yeah,
change by Epic.
it's also making the game more aggressive, which is good. Which
Yes,
is good. This game has had a lot of roaming, and people just go into harvesters to gather them, and you got to move around. Now they're forcing you. They're giving you a reason to invade someone else's camp, someone else's jungle. Get in there, take harvesters down, and more team fights. It makes the game so much more fluid, in my opinion. There's more things to keep track of. This appeals to my strategic,
oh, I yes,
way of thinking. I
100%.
love it. I love it. There's a
And
lot
here's
more complexity than any other MOBA I've ever played.
and you know what I love, and I love about this change and what you mentioned about it becoming aggressive reminded me, and what it reminded me of was that remember CXP sharing nerf is coming down the pipeline, and when I say nerf, I mean an actual nerf, like a crit nerf. We're going to be looking at where the more people you add to a given situation when CXP is picked up, the less everybody's going to get. So running these harvester plays where everybody gets the same amount no matter what because it's a harvester is going to be very very important, and it's going to put a lot of stress on your junglers. I think having a jungle now is going to be a thing. I think it's really going to be a thing, and I'm
I
excited for it.
mean, yeah, I agree. I think this will put Grux back because I feel like Grux used to be the a beast. Then they nerfed him,
Well, he needed the nerf.
and yeah, no, he needed it completely. But now, like his jungling abilities are
Oh yes.
way better than anyone else's, in my opinion. Maybe Kalari, but Kalari doesn't have the same presence in a team fight.
No,
Grux is
and
going to
you're right.
be, yeah, I think Grux is going to be a very important character, and he's going to be there to take those harvesters. He's going to be very crucial in good competitive play.
Absolutely. And we've seen an influx of Gruxes in the game, and there's a reason for that. He's no longer two shot by everybody. Absolutely, he's not two
Well,
shot by ADCs. So
yeah,
his ability to stay in combat and his ability to stack those corruption cards up with lifesteal and stay in the fight is amazing.
I'll second that. I think I'm about to see more Gruxes, and I might have to give him a shot again. Because after the nerf,
But
I played him one time before the nerf. Nerf happened. Tried again, and I was like, ah, I'm done. I'm going back to Rampage. So
well,
now we'll see how it goes.
yeah, I don't want to get into the intricacies because I could literally sit here and talk for half an hour between the differences and the strengths and weaknesses of say Fang Mao versus Grux because they're two
Yeah,
entirely different characters that are supposed to serve the same role, and each one you have to have a different mindset for. But I will say this: if you can do well on Grux, you will do even better now after this patch. I mean, you will do fantastic. But
yeah.
let's move on in our list here as we're closing on 3 minutes till an hour, and we've still got stuff to get through.
Oh, true. All right. So the new rank system, or yeah, I guess that's what they're calling it, the
Yeah,
ranking system, but
it's a
it's not
player
really a
ranking
rank.
system.
But
Well, no, not really, but like it's more of rank their performance. How did they do? Were they d bags
exactly.
or were they very helpful?
Yeah, which is fun. I like it. It was there in Dota when I used to play, and it's in a lot of games, and it's perfect. It's I like to see it. What I want to see is Epic actually reviewing those matches, Epic keeping up with what they see from that, and I want to see them like I had a game the other day where I had a pretty bad experience, and like we won. Okay, we won. I backdoored with the black orb, and this dude showed up to my stream and started saying, oh, like you suck, blah blah blah. Like, why are you streaming a game that you can't play? And I'm over here like, not only did we win, I won the game. Like, obviously at that point, I'd already given my feedback on the ranking system, but I want to see Epic actually, take a look at that. If this player has been doing that for multiple games, then take a look at it, ban him, or give him a warning. That's what I want to see. Next time they come out with their monthly, what's it called? The monthly update, I guess, or
Yeah, it's state of the
yeah,
game, and then they go by month numbers.
exactly. So next time they do that, I want to hear what they have to say about that.
Yeah, and what I really like about this I am already my brain is firing off faster than my mouth can speak. So let me redo this here, and let me say this. Um, there's two things. There's a good side and a downside to the player rating system. What I really like about it is it now gives you the ability to up people who did very well, people who were helpful, people who were positive in the match. It gives you a way to thank them and tell Epic that you thank them, and I think that is a fantastic idea. I think that's wonderful. On the negative side, negative ratings, people will rate each other negative just because they're salty. That's it. They're gonna rate. So many people are gonna get rated as abusive communication and mismatched. It's gonna be ridiculous. And I think that Epic's pretty much shooting themselves in the foot with this, having both a player report, like a player report form, and this rating system, because now you can double say somebody's bad. But
Yeah.
we'll see. It's for them to sort out, not us. As long as everybody tries to stay honest, it'll be a good system.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, if they review it and they go over them, because I don't want some automated system where if you get 10 of these in 2 weeks, then you're banned. But what if this person played 12 games in 2 weeks and this other one played 100 games in 2 weeks? And, that's only, if you play 100 games and you get negative stuff, only 10% of them versus 90%, there's a difference there. There has to be a system in place where they can see where it's someone just being salty or someone who's genuinely a toxic player.
Agreed. Absolutely 100% agree with that. And I'm sure they've got metrics for that that we don't know about. And I really,
Yeah.
truly hope they do. And if Epic, if you're watching, dear God, I hope you do. You're in for your analytics team is going to be just bogged down forever and a day.
I'll agree
Let's
with that.
let's get on to some skins here. Ooh, the skins. Oh, the skins, they look so good. So good.
Yeah. I have a soft spot for that rampage skin. I wanna get it really bad. I wanna get my master skin finally. I'm almost there. So I wanna get that master skin and then I'm gonna go for the wasteland rampage. Looks sick.
There you go. Hey, you don't even have to wait, dude. 500 coins, it's yours. 500 coins. Go
Yeah,
get
I
it.
know. I gotta show off that I'm a master rampage and then I'll
Oh,
buy something. I guess I can buy it
I
now,
don't.
but
I don't
you
blame
know.
you. I don't blame you at all. And you know what? And there was a lot of talk on the forums and on Reddit about how these were basically just recolors of what they are right
Yeah.
now. And you're absolutely right; they are recolors of what they are now, but there's still a skin. So don't get salty over the fact that they didn't completely change the character model because guess what? Those changes are in the pipeline. They will be coming. So just sit tight and we'll get those. But as a starter for the new skins, I think that they're doing very good. I think that those skins look very good. That War Chief Grux though, God, that War Chief Grux looks so good, so good.
Oh, that's Kratos, man, from God of
Is it
War.
great?
Looks
Is that actually? I don't know. I think I played like 20 minutes of one God of War game ever. So
I mean, that was something I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's like, dude, that looks exactly like Kratos. And I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, it really does. It really does look like Kratos. I'm pretty sure that's not what they were going for, but it looks like Kratos.
all they got to do is in the next one they ought to add some chains onto the bottom that wrap up his arms.
Yeah,
Then he could
exactly.
be Kratos. His smash and grab, he could throw him out and pull him back with the chains. How awesome would that be?
He already has two bones. Just add the chains, and you got Kratos
Exact,
Grux. There you go,
exactly.
Epic. If you want more money from people, especially PlayStation people, just make the Kratos Grux. There you go. That's my suggestion.
And then as one of
So
our viewers is saying, and we are getting to, there was releases out for the newer skins coming. So everybody's aware of what we got. What we just got were considered tier one skins. There's four tiers of
yeah.
skins. As you move up in the tiers, the model gets changed more and more. For example, the Beetle Grux, and Skiz is going to go ahead and link that for you. It's a picture for it into the chat, and that's an example of what they consider to be a tier 2 skin, and it's only going to get better from there, guys. It's only going to get better from there. As the tiers go up, the model changes, everything dynamically changes, even the same character. It's going to be awesome. I think they're going to do, oh, you didn't, oh no, you're not permitted.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely
Yeah.
forgot.
Move
Yeah, my
on.
bad. Mubot hates you. There we
Yeah, it
go.
doesn't like me. Yeah.
Reposted. Reposted.
Awesome.
My bad. So for the next one, we'll make sure Skiz is on the whitelist for my Moobot so that nonsense doesn't happen.
So we got the Beetle Grux there. That looks. I mean, it looks awesome. So the friend I'm talking about, I was talking to him about Beetle Grux too, and I don't know if you've ever seen Chronicles of Riddick. That's with like Vin Diesel.
Yes, yes, yes,
I don't
yes.
know.
I
Yeah.
love
So
the Chronicles of Reddit. Pitch Black's my favorite.
yeah. So oh well, yeah, that's the best one hands down. But the bad guys in like the second one,
Hmm?
when they have all their armor, they look kind of like that, or at least I thought they did. I don't know
A
why.
little bit, yeah. A little bit, yeah. I think I'd have to agree with that. But you know what I want? I want that purple vision. That's all I want. I want Vin Diesel's like I want to take off my glasses and see everything in night vision purple. That would be awesome. Awesome. But
That would be
we're
interesting.
now we're moving off topic. So, new
Yeah.
skins coming down the pipeline, guys. They're looking good. We're getting new tiers. Just wait. Hold on to your pants. It's going to be amazing. But let's talk about what I find to be the funniest part of this update. What have they done to bots, Skiz?
Dude, I laughed so hard when I read that. So basically, bots will no longer waste their area of effect abilities on single minion targets. So for those of you that like to play against bots, the bots will not be so dumb anymore, or not as dumb, but man, that's funny. So essentially, your bots were actually using, like, let's say Sparrow's arrow barrage thing on a single minion. That's crazy.
And you know, and it's a good thing. Overall, what they've done is they've taken the bot AI and they decided to up it. I've seen a couple posts from people now. I haven't played any bot matches since the update, but I've definitely seen some posts from people on Reddit and mostly on the forums about how the bots are actually acting like real players. They move in groups, they gank, they attack harvesters, they do real things that players are doing. So Paragon is slowly updating their AI, and I think that the reason why the AI was so dumb to begin with is because they didn't know how players would actually play this game. And as we test the game and as they get analytics, they're going to update their bots with how the average player plays the game. That way, playing against bots isn't like, attacking a brick wall with a fucking sword. You know what I mean? It's not boring as hell. You actually have to have a little bit of
Yeah.
strategy to it.
I mean,
But
I agree. I
yes.
mean, I just read it and I thought it was funny. It was hilarious.
Oh, and yes, it is funny. I've seen a Muriel bot use consecrated ground on a singular minion before, and it is hysterical. And I'm glad that they're finally putting some effort into their AI because it's been a
Yeah.
glaring weakness over the course of the whole game. But
Oh yeah.
let's see here. We're at 10:08. We'll keep going for just a little bit if you don't mind, Skiz.
Oh, I'm good. I'm
All
good.
right. So, hero talk, good, bad, and the ugly. What are we looking at here? What do you think has become more viable this week with this update, and what do you think has been knocked down a peg? Because believe me, I've got hours and hours that I can talk to myself about this, but I want to hear what you think.
Um. Well, I already covered a couple things. I think this is something that I saw a viewer comment on a little bit earlier. I wrote it down further down. So, um, saying that they're waiting for a caster rebalance. I think that this update does not require now a caster rebalance. I have seen Gideon move up on kills way more than I've ever seen before. Gideon is no longer as squishy as he used to be against, let's say, Twin Blast or Murdoch, especially early game. So I think that this just bringing that crit chance down enough made it so where casters now can compete with your carries, especially early game, even mid game. Um, Now I know that I have heard, especially from you, that a certain someone should not be getting should be getting a nerf sometime soon because of her shields and stuff. So how
Yes,
about
yes,
you?
yes, yes.
You elaborate on Muriel because I want to hear that.
Yes, yes. Well, I am a primary Gideon player, but I do play a lot of Muriel as well. Muriel was actually the first character I got to level 9, and then I abandoned her when I got on a competitive team for a short minute, knowing that she was going to have basically a 100% ban rate in tournaments. And that's when I started playing Gideon, and my god, did I fall in love with him. But Muriel has gotten a lot more powerful now with this update because her shields are now more relevant later in the game. Now, it's still true that late game when ADCs are online and everybody's at 60 card points, Muriel's not near as relevant as she is in the early and mid game. And I think what a lot of players are having issues with right now is that Muriel's usefulness extends beyond 30 card points now. And that was a lot of issue with her before. If you played her, you had to play the rush game because at 30 card points when crit came online, you were absolutely done for because they could basically just remove ADCs could remove your shield with one hit. But I do think she now needs
Yeah,
a little bit of a rebalance because now she's viable all the way up to 40-45 minutes. And since the average game doesn't last more than 35 minutes, you're talking about a hero that can 100% protect her team for, the entirety of an average match. And I can't really say what that's going to be. I can't say if they need to I think overall they should probably just reduce her shielding by 10%. I think that feels like a good rebalance. I think that's a good way to start. And then at that point, we can, keep testing her, see how it goes, because we don't want to give any hero the Grux treatment, which, which if you don't know what the Grux treatment is, it's the super duper nerf bat. But
I
overall, yeah,
agree. Yeah, I agree that that might be the case, but I want to see what's going to happen now when they bring new heroes in. Because Muriel is the only healer there is in this game. Most other MOBAs, you have two or three, even four to pick. And I think that once they add other healers, we will see more variety and we will have most likely a healer or someone that can heal at least with just one ability the rest of your team in a more effective way than Muriel or something to complement. So I think that yes, 10% maybe it could be done right now, but I want to see what happens when they add the next hero because I'm hoping that it's
right.
going to be a healer, and then we'll be able to see how it stands the whole shielding and healing aspect in this game. Because right now we can't compare Muriel to anything. Obviously, we're all
It's
bothered
true.
by a Muriel because we're shooting at someone and then she comes along and saves them. But if you don't have a Muriel and the other team does, then you're instantly at a disadvantage because no one else in the game can heal. Maybe if Mal can heal himself, give himself an overshield. That's why I thought Steel was such a good choice because you have someone that can provide a shield if you have no Muriel on your team. Now you can't. So I guess in that sense, yeah, Muriel really is one of a kind, and there is nothing to counter it really. Especially mid game, like you're saying, or even early game, like you can get to 30 cards and her shield's still relevant. So maybe tweak it down 10%, 15%, and then we'll see what happens if they bring another healer into this game. And that's what I want to see. I know some people are asking for casters, and I've heard some people asking for another jungler or something like that. But I want to see another healer in the game.
And you know, you're right. You're absolutely right. We need another support, and that's been my stance up to about this update. Was it's hard to judge Muriel for what she is if you have nothing to compare her to. Looking at, for example,
Exactly.
previous to the Murdoch nerf, everybody knew Murdoch was broken, but how did you know Murdoch was broken? You knew Murdoch was broken because you compared him to Sparrow and Twin Blast. And it's the same thing with
Exactly.
Rampage. How did you know Rampage was broken? Because he's doing the job of two different classes and you have him something to compare him to. Decker's the closest thing we have to comparison to Muriel as far as a support caster goes, but she's a CC support, not a true healing support. So I think you're right. When they add a healer into the game, we're gonna see what we can compare Muriel to and how that's gonna stack up and
Exactly.
what how the meta is gonna change. I think you bring up great points, man.
Yeah, it's that's my stance on it, but I understand. Like maybe if they're really if Epic is watching right now, maybe take both of our opinions into account. Maybe do 10% now, and if you add another healer, then compare there and see where things are at. I think that might be a solid choice. Or hopefully the next hero is a healer, and then we'll see where everything's at.
Absolutely. But in case you guys haven't heard, there is going to be a teaser out. The information on the new hero is coming out in a blog post tomorrow by Epic at 10 a.m. Eastern. 10 a.m. Eastern. All right.
Yep.
So keep your eyes out on the blog posts, and yeah, it's going to look good. It's going to look good. I can't wait. I'm excited about a new hero, especially considering the last one was a class I don't play ever. ADC.
I
So
actually
any
enjoy Grim.
I don't like playing ADCs. It's just me. I'm a caster support main. That's what I play. I mean, I can't even
Yeah.
play steel well, for that matter. I don't even play tanks very well. I enjoy playing them, mind you, but I suck at them. And you
Yeah.
know what? And there is one thing. You were talking about the caster balance, and I think that a caster balance needs to happen. And I do say that a caster pass needs to happen because Gadget is still basically irrelevant past 10 minutes. I mean, she can't even push lanes that well because her abilities aren't that great. They don't sync up with each other that well. Iggy is in a fantastic place. He doesn't even need to be
Yeah.
touched. Howitzer, Howitzer clearly needs to be looked at
Yeah.
because of the speed change, and it's the same thing with Gideon. People can just walk away from his ult like nothing ever happened,
Yeah.
and it's the same with Gideon. Gideon also needs to look at, and the reason why I think Gideon needs to look at is because a character should not have to rely on a card, a random chance rare card, to be able to do proper damage. That's the only
Shockwave.
reason. That's the only reason why Gideon runs Shockwave. It's not just for the season. No reason to cast or whatever put himself in the front line otherwise. It's literally
Yeah.
just so he can get his ult off. That's it. That's the only thing Shockwave's really used for. Beyond, of course, getting away from certain situations. But that falls into the utility role that anyone with N can pick up. So we're not looking at that. What we're looking at is why he has to use it for his ult to get damage off. And I think that that's definitely a reason why caster balance needs to happen. But but a fighter balance also needs to happen. The disparity between Feng Mao and Grux. An assassin balance
Yeah.
needs to happen. Look at Kalari. I mean, we've been seeing a lot more of them over the past couple of days because she's not getting absolutely wrecked in 2 shots, but still an assassin balance needs to happen.
Yeah. So there's definitely some balances that have to be done, but I think that we are in a better spot now than the game currently is in a better spot now than it was before this patch. At least that from my standpoint. Even though my main got ridiculously nerfed, I think we're in a better position now when it comes to an overall balance than we were before.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to have to 100% agree with that. And then lastly, the last thing I really want to talk about tonight, because it is very relevant, is the new builds. What are we looking at? Excuse me. What are we looking at for new main builds? What are your opinions on this? And what I mean by this is who got affected by the crit. We're talking the fighters
Yeah,
and the ADCs. What do you think is something viable to
essentially.
run as an ADC?
I can say that what I've seen is the two main I've seen. Murdoch hasn't changed too much. People have moved a little bit more towards energy damage, but they still build crit chance on him. Not just it's not the main focus though. It's kind of like a side thing. Now the other change I've seen is Twin Blast. Everyone I've seen today and even late last night has been running attack speed like crazy. So I know that Twin Blast attack speed gets way better late game, but building attack speed early and then it just scales throughout the entire game, it's ridiculous. The amount of damage he puts out per second is
It's insane.
very
It's
good. Yeah,
it's
it's
insane.
insane.
It's sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you.
no. You were saying like it's insane. It really is.
It is, and the reason why it's so insane is because TB has the best attack speed scaling in the game. He has, first of all, the best scaling, and second of all, he's got that steroid move of his, which increases attack speed for 5 seconds. What that basically means for those maining TB is you have to build what is it, 95 points of attack speed off your cards to hit the attack speed cap while you're using steroid. That's it, 95. Every other character beyond, asterisk, beyond a couple few, has to build 255 attack speed in order to hit their cap. TB, 95. Grux, 130. Yeah, Grux is 130, and Rampage, I believe, is 180. And then
Yeah,
beyond that, most other characters have to build 255, including Fang, who everybody loves building attack speed on. You still have to build 255 to hit your cap. But I think you're
yeah,
right. I think we're moving more to a what I would like to call a machine gun meta on Twin Blast. I still think, like you said,
yeah.
we're seeing crit builds on Murdoch. We're seeing crit builds on Sparrow, and Grim for
Even
that
Fang.
matter. Even Fang. And Fang, I've
Yeah,
seen two different types. I've seen crit builds and non-crit builds for Fang, and now they're both viable. And I love that because
yep,
there's not just one way to build your character. And I think it's the from what I understand, it's the same on Grux as well. They'll run crit
yeah.
builds.
I would. I mean, that's a main change I've seen. Just overall, people are not focusing on crit chance, moving a little bit more towards damage. And the single thing I like the most about this update is it's not so much chance anymore. It's not chance anymore. If you are landing hits, if you are precise, it rewards you. If you are constantly landing your shots, then you're constantly landing whatever damage you should be doing. So with a high attack speed, you're doing fantastic. With crit chances, if you just go crit chance with basically like small amounts of energy damage or physical damage, then you rely on that chance. Whereas now, if you have a really good aim, it's rewarding skill more than it was before, and I like that. I think that that's the biggest change there's been so far.
Absolutely, and I think it's been so good. I think overall the changes that they've done in this update have been great. I think it's been a great rebalancing to the game, and I think, or at least my experience has been, and a lot of people's experience has been, much more balanced gameplay throughout the matches.
Yeah,
So, and with that, I'd like to say, if you're new to the game, you haven't played it yet, and you're just tuning in, or you've tuned in to our podcast today, remember this weekend, May 20, I believe it's the 26th, open beta weekend this weekend, guys. No double XP. Keep that in mind. If you're already a current player and you're used to the double XP on the open beta weekends, it's not happening. Epic has confirmed it, and they said that they will do another one in the future. But open beta, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I want to see some new blood in the game, and I want to see some
yeah,
good matches this weekend. And I can't wait for Agores Rising on this Saturday.
yeah. And as far as the open beta, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be. By the way, the 26th is Thursday, so it's tomorrow. I'm pretty
Yes.
sure it's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be tomorrow night, most likely, if I'm correct. So
Yes, yeah, it
yeah,
should be
don't
going
quote me
live.
on that though. Don't quote me. Yeah,
Oh, by the way, Tabor said he's going to quote you on everything. But
good
no,
to know.
so yeah, open beta weekend is going to be fun. We got a Gores Rising tournament this upcoming Saturday. If you want to see what competitive gameplay looks like in Paragon, where it's at right now, you're going to want to watch that 12 p.m., aka noon Eastern time on Saturday for the first couple matches, and then the semifinals will be on Sunday at 12 noon as well. Beyond that, I think we're good for today. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, we're good. I mean, we've pretty much talked about everything we can.
We've killed it. We've killed
Plus,
it, man.
yeah. Plus, we don't want to talk too much now.
Well, I mean, I could talk for days, so you
Yeah,
got to stop me. Tell me when to
exactly,
shut up.
exactly why, exactly why. I think we're almost at an hour and 30 minutes. So I think this pretty much covers the overall meta of the game, which it's yeah, it's the name of the podcast.
Absolutely.
I I, I used it in a sentence. It's I thought
here's my
it was
golf
funny.
clap for you. Here's my
Th-
golf clap.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm a very clever guy.
It's true. It's true. All right, guys. I am VenusFallen. This is Schizorican. We brought you the meta tonight. I hope everybody liked it. I really hope you do. You can find me on Twitch, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Skiz, where can we find you?
Same Twitch, Schizorican. Just follow me, stop around. I tend to come around like 2 p.m., but I don't have a set schedule, like I said at the beginning. Now, I do have a YouTube. This will be going up on my YouTube at Schizorican, same as it is up there. If you see it, just look that up on YouTube. You'll be able to find this if you tuned in too late, or I guess if you're not here, you can't hear what I'm saying right now, but yeah, it will also be. We're trying to set it up for iTunes and Google Play, right?
Yes, yes, I am.
Yep.
So I'm getting my validations. Should be tomorrow morning. I'll be getting my validations for iTunes and Google Play so that I can put the podcast up on those two. Keep a watch out on mine or Schizo